Hello class, today we will start with the fluvial processes and associated landforms. We all know that fluvial process pertain to the gradational work of the river, and river is the most important agent of gradation. Here we see the picture of a drainage basin. Now when you see the picture of the drainage basin, you can see the river is starting from the source and it is ending up in its mouth. Along this course, it is joined by tributary, and the point where the tributary and the main stream joins is known as the point of confluence. Now this river along with its tributaries and distributaries is known as the drainage basin. So the highland which is separating one drainage basin from the next drainage basin is known as watershed or water divide. Next we are coming to the longitudinal profile of a river. If you see the profile of the river, you are seeing that the profile of the river from the top mountain till the time it is ending to the base level or the sea level can be divided into three phases. The upper phases when the river is in its youthful stage because of the steepness of the slope and also because the river is very swift and straight, and here you will see that vertical erosion is more prominent. Then in the middle course you will see along with the vertical erosion you will also see that along with erosion you will also see transportation of the river is visible here. And in the lower stage you will see that mainly the depositional work of the river is visible when the river is no more able to carry its load because its speed has also decreased. So in the lower stage you will mainly see the depositional work of the river is prevalent. So this is what is the longitudinal profile of the river. Coming to the process of erosion, there are three processes of erosion. The first is the hydraulic process. The pressure and drag of the flowing water exerted upon the grains projecting from the bed and the bank results in hydraulic action. So mainly you have to remember the pressure and the drag of the water is resulting in this sort of activity. Abrasion is the wearing of the rocks. Mechanical wearing of the rock is known as abrasion. It occurs when the rock particle which is carried by the current strike against the exposed particle of the channel. And solution is a totally different phenomena when the chemical reaction between the ions carried and solution in the river water and exposed mineral surface result in the forms of erosion, which is known as solution. So these are the three processes by which the river is eroding the surface. Now there are certain factors which is leading to the erosion of the water. What is the first factor? First factor is the velocity of the river. We are seeing that the erosional work of the river depends upon velocity because in the higher area, that is higher area meaning in the highland or in the hill slope, the velocity of the river is much higher as compared to that of the flat land. Therefore, the erosional work by the river is more in the mountainous area than in the lowland area. So it is directly proportional to the erosive capacity. Next we are coming to the volume of the water. It is very common phenomena that when a river is flooding it has a greater erosional power, and then in the dry season when the volume of the water in the river decreases, its capacity to erode also decreases. So the third which you are seeing that the nature of the rock. So there is two types of rock. One is soft and hard rocks. Those rocks which are very soft like the limestones are easily eroded away, and those rocks which are very like hard and crystalline like the granite, what we see they are more resistant to erosion. And the load of the river, yes, naturally the running water by itself has erosive power, but that is doubled, means the load of the river doubles the work of corrosion or degradation of the rocks by mechanical means, and corrosion or chemical weathering of the rocks supply the load or the cutting tools they are the cutting tools for erosion. Now if you see this picture is showing that how the river is flowing from the upper course then to the middle course and lower course. You can see in the upper course the river is much straight, and the characteristics is what? It is very steep, means the characteristics of the landforms you will see there very V-shaped valley, interlocking spurs, waterfall, gorges, and canyons. In the middle stage, when the trunk, along with vertical cutting, if you see here, the vertical cutting is more prominent, and here, along with vertical or down cutting, whatever you say, the lateral cutting is also very prominent. Okay, here and here, what you have, you only have deposition. So when you see this thing, that in the middle course the river is very wide, and you will see meanders, river cliffs, and slip of slopes. And in the final stage, when the delta formation we are seeing, when the river is unable to carry much load, then we will see floodplains and levees, and we will see that gentle sloping floodplains with flat and wide floodplains, then wide and open valley, and very wide and very deep channels as seen at the mouth of the mouth, where it is disposing all its load. Next, we are coming to the landforms in the upper course of the river, among which the first one which we will study today is the gorges. Now, in the highlands, when the river passes through the bed of the rocks, the main action of the river is the down cutting is the main action of the river, and as a result, you can see very, very narrow and very, very steep valleys are formed, which are known as gorges. The next is the canyon, which is just a magnified form of gorges. It is occurring in those areas where there is much less landfall, and what we are seeing, the valley sides fail to widen at all, and the river cuts deep valley. So if you want to give an example, you can say the Colorado River, that is a great canyon of the Colorado River in United States, is a great example of the canyons. Next, we are coming to the formation of V-shaped valley. We are seeing that most of the rivers have formed V-shaped valley. Such valleys are mainly formed in areas of sufficient rainfall where the rocks are not very hard and down cutting. See here, the down cutting is more prominent. With the passage of time, along with the down cutting, lateral cutting also starts, and which leads to the formation of a V-shaped valley. The next, a very interesting feature we are seeing is the formation of waterfalls and rapids. So how the waterfalls are formed, when you are seeing, you can see the picture, okay, that how the river water falls down vertically from a sufficient height, okay, in the course. And hard and soft rocks, you can see the hard and soft rocks are found at several places in the course of the river. So the softer rocks are eroded and quickly in the river bed, okay, and the hard rocks remain intact. So when the river is falling from the sufficient height, waterfalls is formed, and at the bottom of the waterfalls you can see that plunge pools are formed. Now, along the course of the river, if you see a band of hard rocks and a soft rocks, as you can see from the pictures, the river jumps over this. So as a result of which rapids are formed, and a series of rapids are known as cascade. Now students, today we have completed all the landforms which is there in the upper course of the river, which is related to the erosive, the vertical, the down cutting of the river when the river it is in its youthful stage, okay, when the river it is in its juvenile stage. The next class we will do the river in its middle and in its lower courses. Thank you, class.